Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your purpose. Hope you guys are conquesting yourself first. A conquest of the inner self creates the conquest of everything else around you. But the first thing you got to do is control yourself, and we do this through retention and a lot of other things that we talk about on this channel. Hope you guys are doing well today. Thank you for the comments, subscriptions, likes, donations. It's greatly appreciated. We're moving kind of ahead day after day, continuing the battle. So we got a good, interesting topic today. So let me go do shoutouts real fast here first. Alberto Medina, thank you, my friend, as always. Optical Man, Christian Guillory, thank you. Brian Perez, 100 plus days. Keep it up, my friend. Says all about your relationship with God. You're exactly right, Brian. That's where it starts, and that's where it continues. Continue. MyStyKalMoon, thank you. Tobe, thank you. Confidence Pictures, thank you. Jason, 3 of them. Thank you, Jason. Zephirous Network, thank you. Cold shower after workouts. You know, so interesting enough, we'll have to go back and talk about this a little bit, but I do not do, I wait until after the shower to do my Keller's Fountain of Youth stuff exercise, because I do think it affects me when I do it after the energy rush I get through the Keller's exercises. So I will do it afterwards, not before. So it's interesting. But I do like a cold shower in the morning all the time. I've done that now for a couple years, and I like that. Little Caesar's Pizza, I don't I try to stay away from that. I used to eat that a lot. I don't try to do that as much anymore. So interesting. Brothers Nature's twice, thank you. NB 2023. It is important how you organize your hours. Yes, I think we have to have goals set for everything we do. Makes things easier to get away from temptation. YF, thank you. KP, the Speciman, thank you. And Midgard Viking, big healing. Congratulations, my friend. Keep it all up, and you guys are doing a great job. All right, so the topic for today: how do we actually stop releasing? This is an interesting topic. A lot of people have asked me about this, and so let's kind of focus on this one a little bit, because I find this very interesting, and I've applied this a lot to my journey, so perhaps it will help you as well. So warriors, the key thing that you really want to do is go back to Keller's Fountain of Youth, number 6, and we talk about the 6th exercise, and that's the transmutation. Now, in order to have transmutation, you have to have sexual energy, which means that you have to be aroused by women that you see. And so this is the key. Now, if you don't have that, then you might have to, you know, go see a doctor or something about that part of it. But a lot of this, warrior, starts in the mind. The mind is where it starts, in my opinion. This is how you start thinking about things. And now I say this, and I also say that obviously as a God-fearing person and a person who focuses on relationship with God, we also talk about getting this out of your mind. But for the time being, let's talk about the fact that you get aroused. That's going to happen naturally. Even if you don't have lust in your heart, you have some sort of arousal, okay? And the idea is that you're going to go ahead and focus on, okay, I have arousal. What am I doing with this energy? Obviously, you can go and, you know, look at some pictures and kind of just release. But people have been doing that for a long time, and all it's doing is getting people weaker and weaker, especially males. So what you're doing in Keller's exercise, obviously, is you're kind of transmuting it up. Well, but let's start how you don't release when this happens. And the reason you don't release is because you're tensing up. It's all a tension. It becomes a tension, and then you release the tension. I remember doing this a lot when I had stress, and I felt like this was an easy way to outcome this, and even though it was nice for a few seconds, I felt worse and worse all the time. So that's not the answer. But going back to the actual, releasing, you're building a tension up. And I'm just kind of looking at my notes here a little bit. Your retention, you're building it up. And so you have to kind of work on your muscles in order to to do this. You have to go ahead and do this. This is why, you see a lot of people who can, kind of have intercourse for a long time and not release because they've worked on their muscles. And so doing obviously planks, working with your muscles, you can do this. Now again, you have to kind of put this in perspective a little bit. And I say this, and if you're married, I've had questions about, warriors to asking me, well, how can you not release and still have intercourse with your wife? Well, you can. I mean, you can go, an hour, and you look at the old Ric Flair type of thing. Someone mentioned Ric Flair one time. I always heard him talking about he's a 60-minute man, right? Something like that. Well, that's what we're talking about. That you can actually hold it in, and if you work on it enough, you can actually kind of work through your muscles so that you're not releasing. You're holding it in. And so this is almost at like that abs and the thigh. You work on your abs, you work on your thigh to kind of practice that type of thing, if that's what you really want to do. The key is going to obviously be focusing on what is your major purpose. Again, if your purpose is to procreate, right, well, then you don't need to do that kind of stuff. If you're with a woman, if you're with your wife or someone that is your significant person, then that's a decision you have to make with that person. But I think when we think about this, we think about the fact that releasing is tension. You're getting tension because you're seeing an attractive young lady. You're seeing someone who is, arousing you, and all of a sudden now you get excited. And that's a typical, normal male reaction. A masculine male has that reaction. Now, what you do with it from that point makes a difference. Obviously, you can get frustrated very easily if you're not doing something with it. And this is why we talk about transmutation and the exercises. As I said, putting one finger over the nose, breathing in and breathing out on the other time. And you can keep doing that and kind of bringing that energy up. You can also put your hands on your hip and breathe up, as Kelders talks about. That's another form of exercise as well. But what you're doing is doing something with that energy. Now, you're trying not to release. And so what you're doing is holding it and working on that stomach muscle, and you're working on obviously your muscles in your thighs, your abs, all those areas down there that you're able to hold that in. But remember, guys, all this really is kind of focusing on building tension, but reducing the amount of tension so that you're not releasing. And so you can do that. I mean, we do that lots of times. Now, when you're actually having intercourse, obviously it is without kind of being graphic, it's not as easy, obviously, because when you're actually doing intercourse, you're getting to the point where there is a certain type of friction tension that's created, and so you're basically kind of releasing because of that. And as a result of that, that's when you end up releasing. Now, it can be something as an actual woman that you're with, or it can be something like an actual picture, and you're just releasing to that. And so once again, that's the motion that's going to make it difficult for you to actually kind of stop it and say, no, I'm not going to do this. That's why we talk about the fact it's better to go monk mode and get totally away from all of this than to kind of fool around with it and tempt yourself. However, if you're in a situation where you are with your wife or someone like that, and you want to have intercourse or you want to have intimacy, which is normal type of thing, and you don't want to release, you want to continue on your plan, then you have to start working with those muscles you have to be able to kind of hold back and not do that. And I've been doing a little bit of research on this, so I want to provide some information to you with this, guys. It really is a matter of doing some exercises. For instance, you could do a plank in which you have that up and down motion, work on the inner part of your thighs a little bit, work on obviously the attention you're building, and kind of hold it, and those type of things. And whenever you get a situation like this, before you actually transmute it, obviously practice some of this so that you're not releasing, but then you're able to transmute it when you want to. A lot of this goes back to your control. And again, you can have self-control. Just because you get excited doesn't mean you're going to release. Now, obviously, you want to go monk mode, but again, what happens then is that the monk mode is great, except for the fact, and I've seen this happen, that all of a sudden you get caught unaware, something happens, someone walks by, and all those basic warrior instincts kick in, and now all of a sudden you're aroused. And that's not easy. But again, if you're able to mentally control yourself, saying to yourself, okay, this is an attractive woman, but I'm not going to release, or I'm with my wife or someone's attractive, I'm not going to release, then that's the first step. Then you have to start working on, for instance, I do a lot of planks, I do a lot of exercises down within my abs and within my legs to be able to kind of control that as much as I can. And so obviously I'm at 1,150 some days, and so I've never had really any situation that I've had to really go ahead and I lost that control. And so intimacy with your wife, things like that can happen. It can happen. But you've got to make the thought pattern yourself, first of all, saying, I'm not going to release. And obviously, if you're doing that, you're also providing a lot more intimacy to your wife, who obviously could stay with that situation a lot longer than you would if you're just going to release. And some unfortunately, some men, they struggle. They release within 2-3 minutes, and all of a sudden it's over. And for a woman, that's not something that they want. So we're talking about serious situations here. We're not talking about one night stands, that kind of stuff. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. And I think that monk mode itself should be something you use most of the time. Except if you have that one person, or maybe you start a retention and you're married, like I am, and things like that, then you obviously don't want to, hurt the people around you in a way by all of a sudden going cold turkey and not paying attention and not having intimacy. Now, obviously, you can have intimacy with holding hands. You can have intimacy by hugging. A lot of other things you can do. And the key is really going to be to focus on how you can try to not release. And that's the key thing. Now, if you choose to release to your loved one, that's great, because you're giving them the gift of your energy, and that's wonderful. But I think in many times, situations like that, you have to be really kind of in your mind thinking about what you want to do. So a little bit more serious on this one, my friends. I wanted to kind of talk about this one a little bit because I wanted to kind of focus on how you can actually practically do that. And so once again, as you're getting aroused, you have to mentally say to yourself, okay, yes, I something happened here. I got aroused. I didn't see the person right in front of me now. And so now I have to kind of react to it. But mentally, your default mechanism is to not release. That's what you're thinking. I'm not going to release. Now, because of the exercise you've been doing, with your stomach muscles and your leg muscles and all the muscles down there, you're going to contract in and then use your transmuting exercise. So you can if you see somebody, you go on, and you blow out and you hold. So you got to hold, and you can stop that. So those are the types of things you want to do. The problem is, in our mind, many of us warriors do not want to stop it. If you really want to stop it, you could do it, because you don't do it every minute of the day. So there's lots of times you don't do it. So you can do it. You can stop it. It's just a matter of wanting to stop it, and that's the key. All right, well, an interesting topic. I was doing a little bit of research on this tension and the idea of releasing tension and trying to work with your muscles. I hope it helped a little bit. Obviously, if you have questions, let me know. I'm still kind of working on ways for us to kind of expand this a little bit so I can kind of interact with you guys more one-on-one. But for the time being, I wanted to kind of leave you with two things, as always. First, every day is a new day to a great warrior. And second, you always have to continue to keep thinking about trying to keep in your energy, keeping the masculine qualities, and remember to always battle